Hey guys, how's it going? It's Nik and Matthew here with film Flashback. Today, based on the upcoming movie Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom, featuring the one and only Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
We have decided to watch the remake of The Fly in anticipation of this movie. And let me tell you, if you have not seen The Fly, it's something else.
Not the original black and white version, the 1986 version.
Yeah, I mean, he's great in it. Sharp-looking fellow. He's got a nice chipped tooth that he fixed maybe after the paychecks came in for The Fly. What's funny to me is I see movies like this and I go, oh yeah, that's basically the Simpsons plotline from Halloween, from the Halloween episodes. Same thing happening with Citizen Kane, where like I find these movies, but so Jeff Goldblum is introduced as a scientist who's found a way to transport matter, I guess, from one place to another.
That's the thing. That's the basic plot, is that he can transport matter, but he hasn't figured out how to transport living things. He brings a woman to his loft, and he wants to show it all off. It's weird. It was kind of like, ooh, want to come up and see my matter transport.
You want to see my transportation devices?
It turns out to be one of the weirder, grosser movies that I've ever seen, not just in the special effects, but the fact that every man in it is a horrible person.
Yeah. I think the only way to describe most of the male characters is rapey.
Rapey.
They're extremely rapey. I mean, it's like the ex-boyfriend.
Vicious.
Just awful. Like it's things that you wouldn't even say in confidence to your friends kidding. It's like, no, that's pretty weird, man. Like, we've known each other a long time. Like, I wouldn't even joke around about some of the stuff that's in this movie with the guy. Insulting
her to her face, sabotaging her career, and then in the next sentence asking her, so, are we gonna do this or what? Like, let's get down.
Sex.
And then, what's that? I wonder if people reacted to it the way that we did when it originally came out in 1986. I
would say not. To me, that was a caricature of like a bad. When you look at like worst boss ever would be like the rapey boss that ruins your career if you don't sleep with them, and like that's who this guy was. He was a caricature of a bad boss.
When you watch this movie, it's not one character. It's not two. It's like there's no such thing as a man in the universe of 1986's The Fly who isn't a vicious animal, and so much so that it makes you go, okay, this is on purpose.
Well, there's no question about the hero of the movie is Gina Davis.
Yeah,
her character. I mean, because you're following her, you think it's a Jeff Goldblum movie, and he's obviously the lead, but you're really following Gina Davis, and she's clearly not made some great choices either. Though we can't put it all on these fly guys and these rapey bosses. Like, she's clearly made some bad choices too. But we as an audience, and I can sympathize a little bit with her. And so there's a scene when Jeff Goldblum, trying to impress Gina Davis, uses the transportation devices.
Yes.
And he has a baboon.
That's right.
And he tries to transport this baboon. The baboon turns into a lump of guts, basically. This nasty,
it's like a pulsating, gooey. I mean, the special effects in this movie. This is 1980s practical effects.
Oh. What the? What is that? What is that? So he goes to get another baboon, and like this thing's his best buddy. Like this baboon jumps on him and loves him, and he transports it, and it survives, and like their buddies. Like, what about all the other baboons? Like, how many of this baboons, like brothers, are like, first of all, living downstairs? And like, does this guy not know? Does this other baboon
like,
not know?
And it's not like it's hard to piss off a baboon. Like, if you try to go through like...
Yeah, we've seen Congo, man. Those things...
Well, you try to go through like the Six Flags Animal Kingdom or whatever, you know, they tell you, keep your windows up. They'll rip the rubber off of your car. They'll grab the windshield wipers and start beating you with it. Like, that's a baboon.
So let's talk about the transition of when he starts to turn into the fly.
Yes. He ends up mixing his DNA with a fly. But it doesn't, unlike the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons, it doesn't, in a flash, what happens is he doesn't know, and so it becomes this slow transition, where over the whole course of the movie, things start to happen to the man. So it was a little bit, it almost makes you think that somebody read a Spider-Man comic and said, that is not how it would go, and then wrote the Fly.
Yeah. Actually, this is much more of a Spider-Man.
Let me. So you think you want to be a fly, huh? Let me
yeah. So one of the things that sticks out to me is he starts growing these hairs out of his back. These like nasty bristly hairs, and Gina Davis starts cutting them off because they're sharp. Yeah. And, like, no red flags go up, though, really. It's like, oh, you have back hair now that's really sharp.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have sex again.
Yeah, as you do. And he does show off the 1980s Jeff Goldblum torso. It's supremely ripped.
Yeah, he does this fantastic Olympic style, and it really is. It's the uneven bars.
Which just happens to be in his apartment.
No, that's what he keeps in his loft. By the way, that's another thing about 80s movies. How come everybody lived in a massive downtown loft in 80s movies?
A lot of money in the 80s. Reagan
Reaganomics did it.
Yeah.
It's just pumping away.
Yeah.
So everybody just... Because everyone's a freaking millionaire in these 80s movies. I don't even know who is funding his project. But I'm a little bit more turned off by the square footage of his apartment than I am for the fact that the massive matter transporter that he's got. I go, that's unrealistic. That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in seeing The Fly, but you haven't seen it already, then go ahead and watch it right now, because we are about to give away everything about the second half of the movie. Pretty interesting stuff starts to happen. I mean, he not only does he get uglier and uglier, but I remember very vividly the scene when Gina Davis's character walks in and sees him crawling on the ceiling, and he goes, check this out.
Yeah.
He's like totally unfazed. He's like, pretty cool, right?
So that, and like he's getting just decrepit. Like his ears are falling off and all. Like he gets to what I would consider like the point of no return, where you're like, this guy's is.
We have never mentioned his eating habits.
I was just gonna say, but what flies do is throw up all over shit, and that's what he does. Throws up all over the place. It's disgusting. And so we're talking about marrying genes. What we find out, and this is, I guess, the big spoiler, is that Gina Davis is now pregnant with the kid that is probably a fly.
He says, she hasn't slept with anybody else, and she goes, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, and now because she was having nightmares about what the heck might come out.
Which was nasty.
That's another memorable scene. You know,
Thank God.
That's a nightmare where she gives birth to a thing, like a maggot.
You think that one? Wait till you see this bad boy.
And so now he's arguing, you have to keep it for science or whatever reason, and she's going, are you kidding me? I'm not giving birth to a monster. We're just going to explore real problems that people have, but in this fantastic setting. Which
is good storytelling. And I will say this definitely about the movie. Like, if you're following Gina Davis, which we do, you're giving her the worst situation ever, because what we end up... So she meets this guy who's great, and now he's literally turning into a monster.
It's like the reverse of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, exactly. And now she's pregnant with this monster, and she has to go back to the rapey guy. And so I think the movie it's a good movie. It's disgusting, but like the special effects are great. It's cringeworthy special effects. They're so good and it's so practical. But at the end of the movie, we have the rapey guy from the beginning.
Where he shows up and he has this sort of heroic.
But then you're pulling for the guy. It's like, oh my god.
Where now because now he is now battling. Goldblum's character is turned into a literal monster.
He's not as bad as Goldblum's character at that point.
And you're right. It's like, I don't really know who I'm rooting for in this movie. Is Gina Davis my hero? In a sense, she's my hero, but really she's more just the sympathetic one. Goldblum is like the hero, but he's the tragic hero.
You know, I'm just glad Gina Davis made it out of there and ended up playing Major League Softball, baseball.
From now on.
My sister, she can be on the team, but she's going to get traded later. I'm going to hang out with Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell and make good decisions the rest of my career.
I think that it is a horror sci-fi classic. I really do. This is, like I said, right up there with The Thing. If you're going to try to go back and watch some movies you haven't watched 80s or you haven't seen a lot of practical special effects sci-fi before, do yourself a favor and see The Fly.
Yeah, I would. Just bring a barf bag and don't eat within, I'd say, easily an hour before. Because you might lose your lunch.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. This has been Film Flashback. See you next time.